everybody. This is Shane again with Diamond H Tack. Going to do just a real quick down and dirty kind of familiarization and I wouldn't say training, but familiarization with cold weather temperatures, hypothermia, things that are associated with hypothermia and with cold weather. A few things that I think may not be exactly interpreted by the mass majority as the way they actually are. You can see there's quite a bit of ice here on the Platte River today. I tried to take a temperature. The thermometer I had just wouldn't read it. So I may try that again later, but I'm going to go ahead and pick up this camera and pick up my haversack and head back up to my shelter and we'll have a little talk. It's a little hard to see there, but right now that's reading 29.3 degrees, which is actually higher than what they said the high was going to be today. But, you know, it's weather guessing. So we're going to head up the hill to the shelter now. What you'll see here is that I stopped on the way down to the river, started a quick fire, dropped off my extended kit. My basic necessities are actually contained in my haversack, but on extended things, I'm spoiled, like my military sleep system, a few other things that I carry that are added weight, but well worth it to me. So I'm going to set this down, get settled in here, and we'll have a little talk. Alright, I think probably the thing that bothers me more than anything else, people talk about hypothermia, and most of the people that are doing these type of situations and scenarios understand this. It's just not brought out. You don't have to be wet to get hypothermia. Hypothermia is the result of not tending to your basic survival skills. Hypothermia is dropping of the body's core temperature. Okay, got a few notes here and things that I've taken, done a little checking, some websites, had some correspondence with some absolutely phenomenal experts about this. But like I said, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. Later down the road I would like to do an extended thing on this, but I need to get hold of my corpsman, Officer King. I hope you're watching this, because I will definitely need his assistance in doing that. Hypothermia is dropping the body's core temperature. Your core temperature is defined as your internal, mainly organs, in the center torso part of your body. Peripheral temperature is your extremities, your skin, that type of thing. Your peripheral temperatures can drop a long ways before your core temperature actually gets to a point that's critical. Probably even get frostbite before you get started into hypothermia. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about these notes that I've taken. I do this. I get online. I find a subject that I want to research. I usually try and do about one a week, maybe a little more. And I do some research, and I print out some cards. This is a basic card showing cold weather clothing. This is very similar to what I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing polypros. I'm wearing wool over top of the polypros. A lot of my wool is maybe not the most stylish in the world because it's military surplus, and or it's from having participated in Civil War reenactments. A lot of good wool clothing in that Civil War reenactments. But you're going to want to layer. You're going to want to make sure that you do have wool. Make sure that you do stay dry. Ordinarily, if it was a little wet or if it was extreme cold, I would have a Gore-Tex and some rain pants, which I have my rain pants and my poncho right here on top of my main pack. The next thing you want to do, I wanted to look at, is just some basic signs of how to recognize hypothermia. Okay, just by being around, you're going to see start seeing a lack of coordination. You're going to see a drop in the body heat, mainly your core body heat. Your core temperature is what you're worried about. Confusion, shivering, and urges to urinate. Now, I'll go into the urges to urinate here in a little bit. Hypothermia, as I said, is lost body heat. Several ways that body heat can be lost: through radiation, respiration, evaporation, convection, and conduction. We'll talk about that in a minute too. As I said, you do not always have to be wet for hypothermia. I have this chart. This chart denotes wind chill factors. Okay, just because you're out here, temperature's only 30, 40 degrees, doesn't mean that wind's not blowing and dropping your wind chill factor down drastically. Okay. And your body is going to relate to that, not the actual temperature, but it's going to relate to the felt temperature, which is the wind chill. Got a little chart here. This is for wet hypothermia, and basically what this gives is a breakdown: water temperatures, ambient air temperatures, exposure time limits, or expected exposure time limits. Again, nice to have, general, estimated, but still nice to have. Go to my notes here real quick, because I'm not an entire professional. I keep this journal. Of exercises that I conduct and research that I go over. Okay, water conducts heat away from the body 20 times faster than air, 25 times faster than air. Okay, that's pretty significant. That being said, still, if I'm sitting on a pickup truck bed, laying in a pickup truck bed or whatever, actually conducts heat away from the body faster than what water does. So this is where I come into saying that it's not always just about being wet. Conduction, that's your actually being against something and conducting the heat away from your body. Convection, wind chill. Wind chill is blowing past you. It's in motion. It's drawing the heat out of your body. Evaporation, through sweating and respiration. Okay. When you're cold, you need to remain active. What you need to try and do is not be so active that your breathing becomes heavy or that you begin to sweat, because that evaporation through the sweat and through the cold air coming into your lungs and the hot air exiting and taking moisture out of your body is going to drop your core temperature, and it's also going to push you towards dehydration. You have to make sure that once you get in a warm spot, okay? You're rewarming, you're keeping your activity down to where you're not sweating, and you're starting to get your clothes dry if they're wet. You're starting to get rewarmed. Make sure that you're hydrating. These are basic starts of your treatment for hypothermia. Another thing that we have is basically it's a mummy wrap. Okay, I've got my fire going. I would take my cup, heat some water, okay, pour it into my metal bottle. Along with that, I also carry, I believe they should be in here, maybe they're not in here, maybe they're in the main pack, but anyway, I carry the air activated chemical heaters. The reason I carry those is for a situation like that. You want to activate those, fill your water bottle with warm water. You're going to place those in the armpits, around the neck, in the crotch, and then you're going to lay your blanket, or your space blanket, or your wool blanket, or your tarp, or whatever you have. You're going to lay it out, and you're going to do a wrap with those heaters in place. Now, I've contacted Dave Canterbury and asked his permission to reference one of his videos, and outstanding man, got back to me right away, said no problem, go ahead. So what I'd like to reference is he has a video on his Wilderness Outfitters network on wrapping in the wool blanket. Okay, and this is the proper way to do it. This is just exactly what is shown here, and he does an outstanding job of showing that. So you're going to want to wrap up, get rewarmed, make sure you've got a fire going, make sure you're taking in fluids. This, your reflector, okay, your fire. I'm looking at this, and we were at 27.3 down there by the river. Sitting out here on the other side of my bag, I'm looking at 32 degrees. So we've come up 5 degrees just from this small fire in this reflector. This is very important this time of year to make sure you're dressed properly, you have proper shelter, you know how to treat these problems. That being said, this is probably going to be a little bit of a rough video because I'm not fully into editing and everything yet, so I just kind of have to post them as I tape them. I'm going to go ahead and shut down and do a little work with my pack here and stuff. I kind of got off track because I was sitting there loading the introduction videos last night and started thinking about this and started thinking about the temperatures and about hypothermia and frostbite, and got away from the fact that I've got 2 videos I really need to be doing for the CanteenShop.com. So I'm going to close this down, and we'll see you on the trail the next time. Thank you.